What's up YouTube? How we doing? Michael Linehan here, back with another educational video when it comes to all things fitness and nutrition. Hope I don't have too much background noise, but I thought I'd share this absolutely beautiful day with everyone. This is from the heart of the city centre in Sofia. I've featured it in many of my other videos because I just absolutely love this city. Alright, let's get into today's topic. Without a doubt, the single most effective diet for either gaining weight or losing muscle mass is the diet that you can adhere to for the rest of your life without it feeling like a diet, without you needing to take a break. So, back in 2015, that was when I first discovered calories in, calories out, and how you could utilize that to essentially never diet again for the rest of my life. Up to that point, I had tried so many things because I had always been a heavy child. I'd always been a child that was struggling with his weight, and every time I'd lose weight I'd gain back even more weight, because anyone who's dieting will know that once you lose that weight, it's usually done in a restrictive way, and then it's like all of that, all the foods that you wanted to eat, all of the bad habits that you haven't fully addressed, they come back to bite you even harder when you fall off the wagon. But then I started working with a personal trainer back in my hometown of Cork, and he introduced me to this concept that bodybuilders had been playing around with for years, which was to get stage lean, so essentially to lose as much body fat as they need to get down to single digit body fat percentage, where they've got deep cuts in their abs, veins showing through their muscles and everything. They learned that if you count your calories, if you track your nutrition, essentially every single food you eat is made up of different macronutrients. It's made up of different chemical compounds. Doesn't matter whether it's a fruit, a vegetable, or it's a Pop-Tart. You can break down every food into its chemical elements, and also into which macronutrient type it is, whether it be carbohydrates, fats, proteins. And when it's broken down into the body, it's gonna the carbohydrates, for example, you're going to get from that are going to have a similar effect to carbohydrates that you get from something like a fresh squeezed orange juice, So anyway, once you control for calories in, calories out, then essentially the whole clean versus dirty diets, that all those arguments tend to go away. So this is what I was stumbling upon around that time. Since then, I had once or twice where I experimented with restrictive diets like keto, paleo, etc. But for the vast majority of the last 8 years, I would say about 7 out of those 8 years, I've had a life just completely free from food restriction, which has been phenomenal for me, because I went through periods in my youth where I was overweight, as I said. Then I went into extremely restrictive eating. I even went borderline anorexic, I think, at one point, where I got extremely thin, lost a lot of muscle mass, bone mass, everything. And I've been years trying to gain that back in a lean way. And essentially what has kept me thin for most of my adult life, what's kept the weight off, has been this understanding that I can eat whatever I want, provided I'm still covering all my nutritional bases, provided I'm within a certain calorie range, and also provided on the dose. So it's dose dependent. Doesn't matter if I'm consuming sugar, doesn't matter if I'm having a cappuccino with sugar every morning. The devil is in the dose. That's what matters, is how many of those cappuccinos am I having. Am I having one Coca-Cola every day, or am I one day out of every month binging to the point where I can barely get out of bed the next day because I've eaten so much fat, carbohydrate, so much food sitting in my digestive tract? Like, that's where people gain weight. People gain weight from over consuming calories consistently and in binge purge cycles, from trying to be overly strict, not understanding why they're not losing weight, and then once or twice a week just going hell for leather, binging on everything in sight. There's actually quite a close member of my family who have been trying to get on calories in, calories out, on flexible dieting for years, and this person every single time will fall for one of these really restrictive diets, and then when they fall off the wagon, about every 1 to 2 weeks, they'll go and they'll demolish an entire packet a 12 pack of chocolate bars. And then because of the guilt and the shame that overtakes them, it's like it's not even them anymore. It's like they've been possessed. And then they go on to consume high amounts of calories for the following week, out of shame, out of guilt. Then only to come back into that same cycle of restrictive eating. Whereas the approach I take is that if I want to have a chocolate bar, I have a chocolate bar. I work it into my daily calorie intake. If I'm even going over on my daily calorie intake, well then I remove a few calories the next day. But in terms of my weekly average, I'm hitting my goals. So I'm never getting back to that phase of where I'm overweight, where I'm obsessing about food, where food is a problem. It just doesn't happen. And you see, that's where people get this all wrong. They think that calorie counting is obsessive. No, calorie counting is like it's a daily habit you incorporate so that you don't have to get obsessive about food. So that you don't ever have to demonize certain foods and glorify other foods. And that in that discipline, so that's what it is. Daily calorie counting is discipline, and within discipline lies freedom. You're being liberated by your knowledge around food. So anyway, if any of you would like to work with me on, I guess, breaking your fears around food, dismantling any of the BS around food, and setting yourself up for a lifetime of being able to maintain a low body fat percentage, a healthy body weight, then click the link in the description. I'm going to have a link in there where you can work with me one-on-one on online coaching. Thanks very much. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.